Hey folks, John Henning here. Wanted to talk with you about the difference between a franchise lead generation company and a franchise lead reseller. There are two different types of companies out there, and many folks don't realize that, is that when you talk about where do you buy your leads? Well, a lot of folks say, oh, I buy them from this person or I buy them from that company. And I think a lot of folks just don't understand the difference of what a lead generation company is and a lead reseller. So a lead generation company is really the company that's spending the money to go out to the internet and generate that lead through search engine optimization, social media, pay-per-click, all the different tactics that they use to drive traffic to their website. They have the forms that are then converting that web traffic into a lead. They're then taking that lead and selling it either directly to a franchise company or several franchise companies. They're selling that lead to a franchise lead reseller, or they're selling it to that lead to a franchise consultant or broker. Sometimes all three, right? So it just depends. Every company does it differently. So you want to talk with those companies when you're buying leads directly from the lead generation source. Are you a lead generator? Do you generate your own leads or do you buy leads and resell them? Both models work. You just need to understand how that works, okay, so that you can evaluate that at what you're investing for money and time into those types of leads, okay? So lead generators generate the lead and sell it to one of three different types of folks: consultants and brokers, resellers, or directly to the franchise companies, okay? A lead reseller buys the lead from a lead generation company, adds a few dollars to it, and then resells it, typically to franchise brokers or consultants, okay? Some resellers will sell them directly to the franchise companies depending on if they generated the lead on their own or they bought the lead to resell it. Okay, there are a few companies out there that do that, and they work strictly with franchise companies. Sometimes they work with franchise companies and franchise brokers and consultants. Okay, so the difference here is in what happens to that lead after you buy it, or what I like to say, after you rent it. Okay, because you're really only renting that lead for a short window of time. The lead's generated and sold to a company or companies, put into the database of the lead generation company, and then it's remarketed to a week or a month later. When that lead comes back to the web page, fills out another form, it's considered a new lead. That might be the time you get it. You could have gotten it here or here. Or after you've received that lead, they then remarket to the lead again, and that lead is then sold to someone else. So you could get it in here, here, or here, depending on where you fall in that cycle, and you don't know that. Okay, that lead could have filled out their first form 2 years ago and still be in the system and fill out another form today, and that would be a new lead. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with that, again, as long as you know what's happening and you can act appropriately with that lead, because you only have a short window of time in order to close the deal with that lead, or it's going to be remarketed to and then sold again as a new lead. Okay, as to where a reseller, a franchise lead reseller, typically won't do that because they're in such a small niche industry. If you have a franchise lead reseller that's selling leads to a franchise broker or consultant, they aren't going to remarket to those leads typically, not that I know of anyway. And because if the franchise brokers and consultants found out about that, then of course they would close up their business quickly, right? But you've got to look at the original lead generation source, because if they sell that lead to a reseller marks it up a couple dollars and then sells it to you, as if you're a franchise broker or consultant listening to this. If you're a franchise company, you probably don't deal through resellers. But if you're a franchise broker and consultant, you have generation, reseller, then you. Okay. What happens when that lead comes up for remarketing then? So the reseller's not going to remarket. They've sold it to you. But that franchise lead generation company may remarket it and sell it to 3 or 4 more companies. You don't know, because you don't control the lead. And that's what's really important here in understanding franchise lead generation and franchise lead resellers. In both of those cases, you don't control that lead. So you don't control the quality. You don't control where it comes from. You don't control how they generated it. So the only thing you do control in some cases is how many you're getting and where they come from, okay? And that's at best, okay? Because you certainly don't control anything else to do with that lead. And that's the downside to working with franchise lead generators and franchise resellers, okay? The best source for your own leads, or to generate leads, is yourself, Okay, learn how to generate your own leads. Okay, work with someone like myself. I can teach you how to generate franchise leads on your own, and then you control those leads, and you decide when they're marketed to. You decide what happens with that lead. Okay, learn how to generate your own leads. I'm not saying get rid of those other two sources that are out there. Okay, all I'm saying is make sure that you understand that there's a third option out there on the market where you can generate your own targeted high quality franchise leads. Thank you so much.